On December 8, 1987, an Israeli military vehicle collided with a truck carrying Palestinian workers, killing 4 of them. This tragic incident was not just an isolated event, but a spark that ignited a long-simmering cauldron of frustration and anger among the Palestinian population. The collision was seen as a symbol of the broader oppression and daily struggles faced by Palestinians under Israeli occupation. The deaths of these workers became a rallying point, a catalyst that transformed individual grievances into a collective outcry for justice and freedom. This incident ignited long-standing tensions, leading to widespread protests in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. The streets were soon filled with thousands of Palestinians from all walks of life who took to the streets to voice their anger and demand change. The protests were not just spontaneous outbursts, but were organized and coordinated efforts that reflected the deep-seated desire for self-determination and an end to the occupation. The demonstrations quickly spread, with people from villages, towns, and cities joining in, creating a unified front against the Israeli military presence. The First Intifada, meaning shaking off in Arabic, had begun. This term encapsulated the essence of the movement, a collective effort to shake off the yoke of occupation and assert Palestinian identity and rights. The Intifada was not just a series of protests, but a comprehensive movement that involved various forms of resistance, from peaceful demonstrations to acts of civil disobedience. It was a manifestation of the Palestinian people's resilience and their unwavering determination to fight for their freedom despite the overwhelming odds. It was a grassroots uprising against the Israeli occupation that lasted until 1993. Unlike previous movements, the First Intifada was characterized by its bottom-up approach, with ordinary Palestinians playing a central role in the resistance. This was not a movement led by political elites or external forces, but by the people themselves, who organized and mobilized at the local level. The Intifada brought together diverse segments of Palestinian society, including students, workers, professionals, and even children, all united in their quest for liberation. The Intifada was characterized by mass protests, strikes, and civil disobedience. These actions were not just spontaneous reactions, but were carefully planned and executed strategies aimed at disrupting the normal functioning of the occupation. General strikes were called, paralyzing the economy and sending a clear message of defiance. Schools and universities became centers of resistance, with students and teachers participating in protests and boycotts. Civil disobedience took many forms, from refusing to pay taxes to boycotting Israeli goods, all aimed at undermining the occupation's control. Palestinians, including young children and teenagers, took to the streets to demand their rights and an end to the occupation. The involvement of the youth was particularly significant as it highlighted the generational aspect of the struggle. These young protesters, many of whom had grown up under occupation, were determined to fight for a better future. Their courage and determination became a source of inspiration for the entire movement. The sight of children and teenagers standing up to heavily armed soldiers became one of the most powerful images of the Intifada, symbolizing the David versus Goliath nature of the struggle. The Israeli response was often harsh, involving arrests, curfews, and military force. The Israeli military and security forces were deployed in large numbers to quell the uprising, using a range of tactics to suppress the protests. Curfews were imposed, restricting the movement of Palestinians and confining them to their homes for extended periods. Mass arrests were carried out, with thousands of Palestinians, including children, being detained. The use of live ammunition, tear gas, and rubber bullets against unarmed protesters led to numerous injuries and deaths. The harsh response only served to fuel the anger and resolve of the Palestinian people, further intensifying the uprising. The images of children throwing stones at armed soldiers became symbolic of the uprising. These images captured the stark contrast between the heavily armed Israeli soldiers and the unarmed Palestinian youth, highlighting the asymmetry of the conflict. The act of throwing stones, though seemingly futile against the might of the Israeli military, became a powerful symbol of resistance. It represented the Palestinians' refusal to submit to the occupation and their willingness to fight for their rights, no matter the cost. The stone-throwing youth became icons of the Intifada, embodying the spirit of defiance and resilience. Women played a crucial role in the Intifada, organizing protests, strikes, and providing support to the community. Their involvement was not limited to the front lines of the protests, but extended to various aspects of the resistance. Women organized and led demonstrations, often facing the same risks and dangers as their male counterparts. They played a key role in coordinating strikes and boycotts, ensuring that the movement's actions were well organized and effective. Their contributions were vital in maintaining the momentum of the Intifada and ensuring that the resistance was sustained over the long term and providing support to the community. Women also played a crucial role in providing support to the community during the Intifada. They established and managed underground networks to distribute food, medical supplies and information, ensuring that the basic needs of the population were met despite the harsh conditions. These networks were essential in sustaining the community's resilience and enabling the resistance to continue. Women also provided emotional and psychological support, helping to maintain the morale and spirit of the people. Their efforts were a testament to the strength and determination of Palestinian women who played a central role in the struggle for freedom. They managed underground networks to distribute food, medical supplies, and information. These networks operated in secrecy, often at great personal risk to those involved. They ensured that essential supplies reached those in need, despite the restrictions and curfews imposed by the Israeli military. The distribution of food and medical supplies was crucial in sustaining the community during the prolonged period of unrest. Information networks also played a key role, disseminating news and updates about the resistance, coordinating actions, and keeping the spirit of the Intifada alive. The underground networks were a lifeline for the Palestinian community, enabling them to withstand the pressures of the occupation. Their efforts were vital in sustaining the uprising and ensuring the community's resilience in the face of adversity. The resilience of the Palestinian community was a defining feature of the Intifada. Despite the harsh conditions and the constant threat of violence, the community remained steadfast in their resistance. Families supported each other, sharing resources and providing mutual aid. The sense of solidarity and collective purpose was palpable, with everyone contributing to the struggle in their own way. This resilience was not just physical, but also psychological, as the community maintained their hope and determination in the face of overwhelming odds. The Intifada was a testament to the strength and unity of the Palestinian people. The Intifada garnered significant international attention, with media coverage highlighting the plight of the Palestinians and the brutal realities of the occupation. The images and stories of the Intifada were broadcast around the world, bringing the Palestinian struggle to the global stage. International journalists and media outlets covered the events extensively, providing a window into the daily lives of Palestinians under occupation. The coverage highlighted the human cost of the conflict, showing the impact of the occupation on ordinary people. It also exposed the harsh tactics used by the Israeli military, drawing international condemnation and increasing pressure on the Israeli government. The world watched as a new generation of Palestinians stood up for their rights, and the Intifada became a pivotal moment in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The involvement of the youth in the Intifada was particularly significant, as it represented a new generation of Palestinians who were determined to fight for their future. These young activists were not just participants in the protests, but were often at the forefront of the resistance, leading demonstrations and organizing actions. Their courage and determination inspired others and helped to sustain the momentum of the Intifada. The uprising also marked a shift in the dynamics of the conflict, as the Palestinian struggle gained greater international recognition and support. The Intifada eventually led to negotiations between the Palestine Liberation Organization and the Israeli government. The sustained pressure of the Intifada, combined with the international attention it garnered, created a new political reality. The Israeli government was forced to acknowledge the Palestinian demands and engage in negotiations. The Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO, which had been marginalized in previous peace efforts, emerged as the representative of the Palestinian people. The negotiations were a significant step towards addressing the underlying issues of the conflict and finding a path to peace. However, they were also fraught with challenges and complexities, reflecting the deep-rooted nature of the conflict. In 1993, the Oslo Accords were signed, marking the first direct agreement between the two sides and establishing a framework for future peace talks. The Oslo Accords were a landmark moment in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, as they represented the first time that both sides had formally recognized each other and agreed to a framework for peace. The accords included provisions for the establishment of a Palestinian Authority, the withdrawal of Israeli forces from parts of the West Bank and Gaza Strip, and the initiation of further negotiations on key issues such as borders, refugees, and the status of Jerusalem. The signing of the Oslo Accords was met with both hope and skepticism, as it marked a significant step towards peace, but also left many critical issues unresolved. While the Oslo Accords brought hope for peace, the underlying issues remained unresolved, setting the stage for continued conflict. The Accords were seen as a breakthrough, but they also highlighted the deep divisions and mistrust between the two sides. Key issues such as the right of return for Palestinian refugees, the status of Jerusalem and the borders of a future Palestinian state were left to be addressed in future negotiations. The failure to resolve these issues led to continued tensions and periodic outbreaks of violence. The Oslo process also faced opposition from hardliners on both sides, who were skeptical of the prospects for peace and sought to undermine the agreements. The First Intifada left a lasting impact on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, highlighting the determination of the Palestinian people and the complexities of achieving a lasting peace. The Intifada was a turning point in the conflict, as it brought the Palestinian struggle to the forefront of international attention and forced the Israeli government to engage in negotiations. It also highlighted the deep-rooted nature of the conflict and the challenges of finding a lasting solution. The Intifada demonstrated the resilience and determinations of the Palestinian people, who were willing to endure great hardships in their quest for freedom. It also underscored the need for a comprehensive and just resolution to the conflict, one that addresses the legitimate rights and aspirations of both sides. The legacy of the Intifada is a reminder of the enduring struggle for justice and the ongoing quest for a peaceful resolution. The Intifada left an indelible mark on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, shaping the course of the struggle and influencing subsequent generations of Palestinians. It served as a powerful reminder of the resilience and determination of the Palestinian people and their unwavering commitment to their rights and freedom. The Intifada also highlighted the complexities and challenges of achieving a lasting peace, underscoring the need for continued efforts to address the underlying issues of the conflict. The legacy of the Intifada continues to inspire and inform the ongoing quest for justice and peace in the region.